So we are here with Julia from Horsefeathers Inn in Tarrytown, New York. Thank you for having us come.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
This is awesome. The place looks awesome. I can only imagine what this place looks like in like Halloween.
It's crazy.
I'm definitely coming back for Halloween.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so cool. So what got you into the whole thing with Sleepy Hollow? What makes you love and have an Instagram page that has so much content and so many people following? Like, where we can start with there.
So my grandfather, when they came from Italy, my mom's family, they settled in Sleepy Hollow, and my grandfather was a gravedigger in the cemetery. So growing up, he had passed away when I was a kid, but growing up, we always went to the cemetery and visited his grave, and it was across the bridge. And then, you know, my mom she went to Sleepy Hollow High School, and she just loved the haunted legend and the stories and the ghosts, and she's into all that. She thinks she's psychic. She might be a psychic. I shouldn't say she thinks she is, but she might be. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of grew up always having it in the background. And then when I bought this restaurant, and the theme is pretty much the history of Tarrytown, you know, so just try to highlight that and play that up. And then during COVID, I had nothing else to do but walk my dog. So I would take all these videos, and instead of putting them on the Horsefeathers site, I figured I'd start a new one for just things around here. Then it kind of expanded, and it's like all creepy things I find along my way.
So basically, COVID actually helped and became a positive for you, because from what I see on Instagram, people love the whole page. You have like 60,000 people following you. You have people from different countries.
It's exciting. I mean, it's nice because it kind of was like a therapy thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I would just make these videos and put them to music just to get it out of my head, or just to create something. So to see people respond and like it, it's really, really awesome.
No, it's some following, and I came across when I was thinking about doing an episode of Sleepy Hollow. A long time ago, I ran a paranormal investigation group. We went to Sparta Cemetery, which is very close to here.
The Leatherman.
Yes, yeah. And I saw you just went on the trail to see one of his caves.
Have you gone to that one?
Is it in Connecticut?
It's in, I was researching again last night, but there's a whole bunch of different ones. And this one's in, it's on Ward Pond, Pound Ridge, which is actually also a Native American, you know, that was their home base was Pound Ridge. Mm-hmm. I don't know, have you heard of the Pound Ridge Massacre? But you should look that up, because that's crazy history. Yeah. But so he's in Pound Ridge, and then the hike is brutal. It was really hard. And I can't believe he did it all in leather. But yeah, so that's what I did yesterday.
So how was the hike for you? Was it? It was
hard. I was sweating. Joey, I was dying.
We got another hiking trail to go to.
I got stung by a bee.
Oh no.
Yeah. But then I just kept going. We got to get to this cave. But then you get there, and it's kind of like you feel like this is a special place. You know, you can't believe he found it.
It's quite the tale of the Leatherman. It's an episode I did a long time ago, before the podcast really was up to date with as far as standards and editing and things like that. But we went a long time ago. As my ghost group went to Sparta Cemetery, because there was claims that Sparta Cemetery is haunted. Now, I don't really think it's haunted now. I think it was just thrown out there. But we researched the Leatherman, and we tried to find the gravesite at the time, and we couldn't find it. So we're going to actually pop by there today to try to do some video and try to actually see. It's on a stone, right? It's on some kind of...
So when you go down Route 9, you're going to turn left onto Revolutionary Road, which is kind of like cutting behind the cemetery. Park on that road instead of Route 9. Mm. And then when you walk through the cemetery, you have to go all the way to the back, and you'll find it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
There's also a spot there where a Revolutionary cannonball hit from the British sloop Vulture, so you're going to want to look for that too, because that's pretty cool.
I have actually photos of that building, and in those photos, we went twice. The second time we went, it was in the snow. And every photo I took did not have this red mist, but when I took photos of that building, there was red mist that came out, and this was 35 millimeter film, and that was the only area that this red mist appeared, was where that building was blown up by cannonball. I'm not saying it's ghosts, but I'm just saying it was a little weird that I couldn't pinpoint why that happened.
Sounds like you're saying it's ghosts.
I'm trying to, be in and out of the lines with it.
Weird New Jersey. Do you guys ever see that magazine?
Mark Moran.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a big fan.
I was obsessed with that magazine when I was a kid, and we would, I grew up in going from Ossining, which was like very metropolitan compared to where I grew up. Then moving to the woods of New Jersey, it was all we did was
Clinton Road.
Clinton Road. That's the town I'm from, West Milford.
I've been there.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
So we would just go into the woods and find these ruins, and that added to it. But the history stuff, it's like a lifelong thing. There's still things I don't know that I'm learning, or I'll read, or I just bought all the volumes of Washington Irving's letters. So then I'll go through, and I was reading the letters and reading what he was writing about Sunnyside, which was, his house, and it's cool.
So he used a lot of the names that are in the cemetery that Frank was telling you before we started recording in his books.
Yeah, so Van Tassel. Mm-hmm. So Van Tassel's a really historical name here, and he bought his house Sunnyside was the former Van Tassel farm. Mm-hmm. So it's just like an old-timey name that it still is around here. Actually, there are Van Tassels here today. So, wow. Yeah.
So we are going to venture out. Mm-hmm. I know you said something about Patriot Park. That's close by? There's a very big historical aspect to Patriot Park.
Yes, Patriots Park is where they found, they captured Major Andre, the British spy, who was after his meeting he was meeting with Benedict Arnold, and he had the plans for West Point in his boot. So Westchester at that time was like no man's land. The Loyalists would burn stuff down. The revolutionaries would burn stuff down. Being in Westchester County, you weren't safe from anyone. So there were highwaymen patrolling, and they stopped him to check his papers, and that's when they realized something was wrong, and he wasn't, just who he said he was. That's when they searched him, and they found the plans. And I think that this spot here in Tarrytown is where the Revolutionary War was decided. If we had never caught Major Andre here, who knows what could have happened.
So, a friend of mine who's here today, Frank, we went to Old House Tap-In. At the time it was called Tap-In 7-6. And the reason we went there was solely on the ghost story. And then Frank is a history buff, and he alluded to that he was kept captive there before he was hung.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we went there. We had lunch on 2 occasions. We saw the church that was there. And then we walked to, which was not really that close, right? We actually had to drive to the
It's like
site.
in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah, the stone monument is right across where this traitor was hung. It's crazy. So there's a lot of historics that intertwine with the immediate area, and it's Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown is. What we're trying to do in this episode is tell people that there's more to the folklore of just the Headless Horseman. There's a historical factor in Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown that is very significant and perpetuates in the folklore and the books.
Well, that is the basis of the story, right? Is the history of the Revolutionary War here. It's where the Hessian came from. So even Washington Irving would look back on our history to create the tales.
No, it's okay. So that's, and it's crazy. I was just, before I came yesterday, I was on Instagram. Algorithms make you see certain things. And there's reports of the Headless Horseman that started in Ireland. And there's a certain name. I'm not good with names. If you ever listen to my episodes, I don't pronounce things very well. But there was a certain name that they had, and so it says that the tale came from overseas and made its way over here. And then I guess Washington Irving used it.
I think it came from a German folklore, and he wrote it actually in England. He wrote the sketchbook when he was in England. So, definitely probably had a huge influence on him.
Yeah, very big. So this place is awesome. I thank you so much for the interview. Thanks for having us. Are you going to come to Patriots Park if you have time, or we're going to be? Yeah,
sure. And then I'll send you guys off on wherever I think that you should go next.
And the part I'm looking forward to is coming back to eat.
Oh yeah,
because I didn't eat all day, and I'm ready to go. And I'm a fat kid at heart, so I got
the right place.
Yes, I'm going to pig out. Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you guys at Patriot Park.
You guys should come if you're around. I know that you're busy.
So that's the site where Major Andre was captured. And then he was taken, as you said, to Tappan, Old Tappan, over to Tappan Zee Bridge, where he was. Is there any type of paranormal activity that is affiliated with anything historical here?
With this park? So they say that this brook is haunted.
This brook right here?
This one, yes. By Major Andre himself.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So they say that he's still angry because he got caught here. And he was angry at the Americans for not treating him like he felt like he needed to be treated, because he didn't consider himself to be a spy. And spies had different punishment than, I guess, normal prisoners of war.
Well, according to my knowledge, that if you were dressed in regular clothing, and this is according to what Frank said, I'm not going to take credit away
No,
from you.
he's right. Yeah, if you got caught in regular clothing and you were an officer, then
you would get
in his uniform, he would just be a prisoner of war.
yeah, you would get prisoner of war if you were in the uniform.
Change his clothes, but he did.
So he's pissed because the Americans were treating him like a spy, and then he was pissed at the British because they wouldn't trade him for Benedict Arnold.
Right, George Washington wouldn't make the trade.
Well, the British officers wouldn't make the trade because it was a bad precedent for, other people that would want to turn, they could be given up to. So.
Wow. So he's angry and supposedly haunts this area.
Supposedly he haunts this creek. This is called Andres Creek, Andres Brook, Andres Stream.
What's the activity that occurs here that people claim?
Well, they just say at night if you could see Major Andre. They say the Headless Horseman comes through here. But I think the basis of this park and the ghost story on this park has to do with Major Andre and his energy on this spot.
Well, for paranormal lovers out there, the water and trees supposedly conduct energy and give paranormal activity an opportunity to occur. Now, again, I've never seen a ghost in person. I've been to some strange places and had strange things happen, but I always like to ask, just to see the local ghost stories, especially here in Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We got number one.
Well,
this is the most beautiful park.
It is very beautiful. Let's take a walk. Can you go down there? Or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's very nice.
My parents actually got married in this park.
Oh, nice.
That's funny.
Where they took photos and stuff here?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's cool. So where does this water come from? Is it coming from a certain,
Comes from all up the hill. This all goes down to the river.
It's just runoff.
Yeah. There's another creek, Gory Brook, that is supposedly haunted. That's in that'll be up in the Rockefeller kind of property.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the legend behind that. I think it was like a Native American massacre is why they call it Gory Brook.
So let me ask you, what is this statue of this woman that's watching over her husband's grave? You heard about this?
The bronze lady? Yeah.
Yes, the bronze lady.
Yeah.
I was researching that. What is that all about?
So it's just like the local legend. People say that she's haunted. The school kids are scared of her. But actually the story behind that's weirder than reality because the sculptor, he made that statue and then the wife of the actual general didn't like the head. Said she looks too sad. She's crying. So he made a new one. The next week she comes back and he's like, what about this head? Can I put this one on it? She's like, yeah, that's perfect. Put it on. He took the new one he made and smashed it and said, I would never let this out of my studio.
Yeah, I read that. It's crazy.
So I was like, if you were going to do that, and the wife just said, okay, then, I would have been like, all right, well then, I'm not buying your statue. Like, that's so horrible.
So it said to watch over the grave there, and if you do certain things like touch it or sit on the lap of the lady.
Yeah, or spit on it, or she'll come to life.
Crazy things will happen.
Yeah.
And how far is that from where we are?
That's in the cemetery.
That's in the cemetery. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got to check that out.
Oh yeah, you have to get the bond.
No, we're going. We're going. We're going to film some nice audio and video over there. This is nice. This is really nice. Thank you for taking a walk over here. I know we're taking time away from you, but we appreciate everything. And we're going to go venture out, do our own thing, and then we're going to come back and order everything on the menu.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. So we are here at the old Dutch cemetery, and our history buff, who is viewing up ahead, knows the importance of this cemetery. Washington Irving's grave is somewhere in here, I believe. And the bronze lady, right? That's what she said?
That's what she said.
Bronze lady somewhere here.
Plenty of graves over here.
We're going to go into a little adventure right here. We're not breaking any rules by recording. It's a very ominous day. The weather.
Creepy.
I don't remember it being as, it's very crowded, a lot of traffic, a lot of through traffic. Here's a ancient porta potty. Wow, this place is, look at the graves, dude. Holy moly.
1889.
Wow.
One of them. Jesus.
This place is humongo.
1850. Wow.
You know what it's going to be like trying to find that statue?
Oh boy. Little wooden clogs on the
Place is big. It's not no small cemetery.
This is wild. Look at this little one. You can't even read it anymore. 1881.
So, I'm assuming the smaller ones are children?
Maybe.
Check the, yeah. I could just see our little Lottie. That's terrible. Sad. You have to understand, at that time period, disease was not a lot of cures for certain diseases. Common cold was very deadly.
Kid could die of a fever back then.
So that's the church. Let's check that out because we're close to it. So as you can see, you got a little history lesson that is more significant than the folklore or the tale of the Headless Horseman. For this town, Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow, play historical significance to why we're not drinking tea every day, or why we don't have British accents.
Speak for yourself.
Chip Cheerio and all that stuff. So it's a very, very big, there's more to Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown than paranormal. And every little spot around here has some kind of spooky tale. As you heard Julia say, at the park we were just at, Patriots Park. So the church is not open, but here it is. Washington, Irving. My videos are not uploading on Instagram.
Oh, how ironic.
It's over here.
Steps to say coffin.
This is where he's buried. Because I know you can't go in there. And I think it's definitely one of these. So this is the site where famous author Washington Irving, his whole family's buried here. wrote the legend of Sleepy Hollow. And one of these graves, right there with the American flags, that's Washington Irving's tombstone. So, don't know if this is an omen, as Joey just said, but we're walking trying to find the bronze lady in the old Dutch cemetery after finding Washington Irving's grave. Yikes. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys look for her. It's back down there.
You want to take the keys to my car so you can sit in
Well, maybe. Want to see any of those other Sleepy Hollows.
Billy, if I bring home a ghost, I swear to God.
Hey, I didn't hear about this place being haunted, but eventually that's going to happen.
cemetery.
I told you, we still do the investigation stuff. So, but the bronze
Family
lady,
plots.
there's tombstones everywhere. You look to the left, tombstones there. Just imagine what this place looks like in the fall. It's probably like creepy, but very gorgeous, very ominous at the same time.
So you're saying we're doing a Halloween cemetery walkthrough?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100% coming back here in the fall. When everything changes, stay in a mausoleum overnight. You doing it?
$5 grand?
Cash.
Get
One night.
me a pillow. Nice pillow. I'm good to go. $5 grand? Hell yeah. 500? I don't know.
No, 500.
Nah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I got to be doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like it has to be like a day where I'm off. There's just no way. But $5 grand? Hell yeah. Sign me up. I saw there's a meme floating around. It says, you're the caretaker of the most haunted cemetery in America, and you know it's haunted, but they offer you $400K a year. It clips to a woman dancing on Thriller.
What we got here? They offered you $80 an hour to clean the cemetery alone from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Y'all taking the job.
A couple of pages don't really elaborate on where exactly to find it. It says the Dutch cemetery. Still goes.
Yeah, we won't find it.
We will never find it.
We got to come back here when it's
Cooler
and not raining.
and not drizzling, and without us having to make another stop or two. What would you do if you saw a shadow just walking and then disappearing between the tombstones?
I'm out of here, bro. You ain't even asking no questions.
For my party off today? So we are here at Sparta Cemetery, where there is a famous tale of a vagabond called the Leatherman. And he roamed up and down pretty much from the northern part of Connecticut all the way to the Westchester area. And he was supposedly buried here, but upon exhuming the grave, they never found his body. They never knew his identity, and he would just travel up and down throughout the winter months, He wore leather on his entire body that he made, and his skin was so cold and dry from the winter months that they called him the Leatherman, between the leather and his skin. Now over there is the building that was blown up by a cannonball, I believe from the British, if I remember correctly. In that building, when I came here to do an investigation, all the film came out with red mists around that, but everything else wasn't. There's also a couple of graves here, which was a form of pareidolia. I took photos, and you could see like little faces on the tombstones, but it's just really how the tombstones were dried out from weathering and everything like that. So that's the old, that was blown up, that building right here, and I believe the Leatherman grave is that stone over there. And I came here, and this is my third time, and I've never found it. And definitely needs a cut of gas. There it is. The Leatherman. So, it took me a couple of times, but finally got to see it. $60 pounds of leather. That's what he wore. Known for no reason. Leatherman for no known reason. 365 miles. Loop every 34 days. And he lived out of caves, going to town for occasional drink, food, I guess. It's an episode I did about him probably around season 2, and the podcast was still fresh. You can go check it out. We've investigated, and I had my ghost crew. We came here twice. One time during the winter with no snow, and another time where there was snow on the floor, and we were rummaging through here trying to find this, and it wasn't here. So, crazy stuff. So we're back at Horsefeathers, about to grab some grub. Mission complete.